made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug, those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted, to grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Thank you guys for being here. I know it's Sunday. I know NFL games are going on. You guys are watching them. I appreciate everybody jumping in the live stream right now. I got a special announcement I want to make, and then from there, we'll show you the format of the show and how we're going to get down moving forward. Ash is a little upset about something. I don't know what it is. I apologize to Ash. Let me see. We don't have enough people in here for me to make the announcement. So here's what we're going to do on Sundays from now on. From now on Sundays, I'm going to go over the results of all the games on Saturday. That way I get them out of the way. This enables you guys to get more Q&A with me through the week because I don't have to go over every single conference's results. I'll go over their games on that conference day. Group of 5. All 5 group of 5s from now on, I'll be doing one group of 5 conference every single day. So that means when I talk about the ACC on Monday, I'm going to talk about Independence and Conference USA. So independent schools and Conference USA. And then on Tuesday is the Big Ten, and I'm going to talk about the MAC. On Wednesday, the Big 12, and I'll be talking about the American. Thursday, the SEC and the Sun Belt will go with them, kind of like relegation. And then Friday, the Pac-12 and the Mountain West will go together. So it's all regional. It all makes sense. Just remember, the ACC goes with Conference USA and Independence, and we go there. So that'll enable me to address Group of 5s during the week And then on Sunday, like today, all I have to do is go over top 25s and results, take your questions. Now, I'm going to start going through some of these results. I might do, let's say, let me see how many games there are. I should have counted this before we got on air. But from yesterday's results, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. We're at 40 for Idaho. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. 70. So we're going to do this in groups of 10. I'll go over 10 teams, then I'll go to the chat. Go over 10 more teams, go to the chat. So if you got any questions, comments, concerns, just put them in the chat and I'll get to them. Now, the questions need to be pertaining to results, opinions on teams, things like this. I will get into individual matchups as we go throughout the week. If you ask me a question and it's about one of my MVP locks, you don't realize it. I'm just going to tell you guys no comment, and that's just the way I'm going to leave it. Now, sometimes you guys will bring something up that draws my attention, and maybe that might make the MVP locks later. But I already gave out my MVP locks for the week. Shout out to all my MVPs. There are now 137 MVPs. The Army's growing every day. I appreciate every one of them. They made off like bandits last night. The MVPs hit huge. Some of them hit bigger than others. It's easy money, bruh. You're going to be amazing. Shout out to all of you guys. So, I'm going to go through, relax, sweetie. I'm going to go through 10 games. So, let's go. The first game up, let me move out of the way here. First game up is Georgia, South Carolina. So South Carolina was in the lead at the half, 14-3. They looked very dominant. And then Georgia went to halftime, and remember, they were the defending national champs, right? Back-to-back national champs. They came out in the second half, and they looked just like it. They looked every bit of the national champs they needed to be. South Carolina's anemic on offense. They can't run the rock. They can throw all day, but can't run. Carson Beck looked good enough, but still, it looked worrisome. It didn't look like the dominant Georgia you're used to seeing. It definitely didn't look like the 28-point spread they were given. I told everybody, take this spread. I didn't even count this against my record. You know what? This changes my record. I told them take the spread. I made a video about it. Did I not, sweetie? I did. There's two helmets clashing. It's one of my videos posted. Man, that's crazy. I forgot I hit on this one. That's crazy. Here we go. Next, South Carolina's going to have some problems moving forward. And Georgia, they need to get on that winning pedigree way before, halftime. They can't do that again. Bowling Green at Michigan. Nothing to learn in this game. Obviously, Bowling Green, for me, one of the worst teams in the country. Yet the score is 31-6. Michigan gets their coach back soon. But Michigan going out there and beating up Bowling Green didn't impress me. Watching it back and looking at some of the highlights. I haven't watched the whole game. I watched the game on Tuesday. But I looked at some of the highlights, just like all the touchdown plays. And I just think that Michigan's poised to be pretty damn good this year, like I've always said. Florida State, Boston College, most of us watched this game. If you didn't, you definitely watched the latter end of it. Boston College made a game of it. I still think Hafley gets fired. I still think Hafley's not winning games like he should. But his transfer quarterback coming in, Thomas Castellanos, 305 yards passing, almost 100 yards rushing. He probably would have had 100 yards if he didn't count his sacks. And the bigger story here is Florida State not utilizing Keon Coleman as a receiver, not getting him the ball in space. That man is a difference maker. But remember I told you guys on the live stream, I said, hey, Boston College will have a plan to stop the pass from Florida State. Like their coach just knows how to stop passes. He's a really good defensive backs coach. So I was thoroughly impressed with that. Unfortunately for Florida State, I was not impressed with the effort they gave. It was probably a trap game. They're playing Clemson. I think they've been preparing for Clemson for 2 weeks now. They are preparing for Clemson since last week. They ignored Boston College's game plan. They probably didn't look at much film on them, worry about anything they were doing. There was no scout squad for that. There was no work put in for Boston College. They ignored Boston College, and they've been getting ready for Clemson. And that's how I feel about it. Wyoming at Texas. It was a close game initially. Wyoming was there, but once again, the minute you saw Worthy out there catching a quick hitch and taking it to the house, making people miss because he's so fast. Sweetie, can you please stop? Thank you. It wasn't even close, man. 1 second. That's 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Shout out to Texas for actually overpowering their opponent. Unlike Texas Tech, they couldn't do that to Wyoming. But still a little worrisome. You're the 4th best team in the country. No school from Wyoming should be giving you a game like that. And obviously they covered. They didn't cover, but they won by 21. Ohio State hit on all cylinders, started scoring big points. Kyle McCord got the confidence, finding the right receivers, told he's the starter for the rest of the year. Travion Henderson needs to stop going down on first contact. He hasn't broken a tackle in 2 years. But Ohio State's going to find out how good they are. Obviously, they play Notre Dame. They're going to find out how good they are moving forward. Illinois and Penn State. Penn State at Illinois. Drew Allard, they should have scored more points. I told you guys they were going to cover this spread and win big. They did, eventually. What is she pissed about? Can you just shut that door? Like, leave her outside. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Just shut the door and leave her out there. She'll learn to enjoy her backyard. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get my train of thought going again. And then we have Washington and Michigan State. 41-7 in this game was not that close. You got Michael Penix Jr. throwing for 473 yards, right? Rome goes out there and puts up 180. It wasn't close. Man, Michigan State's going to have a long season in conference. Or Washington's just one of the top 5 teams in the country. I'm convinced. I put Washington number 2 in my poll today. I'm not changing my mind on that. I really believe in them. They're the real deal. Okay, so that's my 7. I'm going to go to the chat now. Then I'll get with you guys. Jacob says, Georgia State versus Coastal outlook. Well, the outlook's pretty simple, right? This is a battle of 2 quarterbacks who can't be stopped at this point. Georgia State, Darian Granger, one of the best quarterbacks in the group of 5, putting up a ton of stats all by himself. Coastal losing a lot of their core pieces, but still having a great quarterback. That's the reality of the situation. So Coastal has the Sun Belt. Grayson McCall is a 3-time Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. That's how that's going to go down, Jacob. 2 quarterbacks dueling it out. I expect them to both be able to score. Georgia State is not a punk. Neither is Coastal Carolina. Mustang Man said, Group of 5 live today or later? I'm no longer doing a Group of 5 live. I'm going to be including all Group of 5 conferences into each day with a corresponding Power 5 conference, right? So it's all going to be regional. Hopefully you guys can remember the schedule. You'll know. I'll remind you, and we'll go from there. Marlena Pulja says, Georgia Southern -7 against Ball State. Thoughts? Well, my thoughts are that sounds like a very good Georgia Southern play. Georgia Southern is a pass-happy offense. They're going to score a ton. Ball State is ball control. They run the ball all day long. They have a true freshman quarterback from where's he from? Mission Viejo, California. He's a Southern California kid. And they got Marquez Cooper at running back, one of the best running backs in the group of 5. I still think Georgia Southern's a much better team, especially after I saw Georgia Southern's put up a fight against Wisconsin this week. So that, to me, as soon as I saw that, I wrote it down. I don't know the spreads of some of these games. I only checked FanDuel. I need to look around to other sports books for some of these other games because shout out to Georgia Southern. I would jump on that immediately. It's not on my – obviously, if I'm talking about a game, it's not on my list of locks, but I like it. Marlena also talks about – what up, Lewis Henton? Roll Tide Roll. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for the thumbs up. Marlena says Texas State -16.5 against Nevada. I know Nevada is pretty bad. They are, but for some reason they played Kansas really tight, only lost by 7, and we did not hit the spread there. Nevada's terrible. Texas State is hitting on all cylinders. They're looking extremely explosive. Shout out to Finley. Shout out to what they're doing. I like Texas State over Nevada 16.5. I do. I like that game. Don't know how much you should put on it. I don't know what your betting unit is or how much your increments are, but it looks like a good game to me. It looks like a good buy. So I like Texas State a lot, and I think Nevada's atrocious. Paulo Flores says, hook 'em. What up? Hook 'em. Georgia State, Coastal Carolina Thursday night game. There you go. Yeah, and it's at Coastal. Yeah, take the over. Take the over in that game. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying. Yo, Rico. Yo, chat. What up, Nubian? Everybody loves Jerry. What up? Everybody loves Jerry. Hey, crew, make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the like button on the way in. We got 60. We only are at 32. Come on now. You guys can hit it before we start the show. Leave the chat. Go hit like. Come back in. If you're on TikTok and you're trying to talk to me, I don't read TikTok comments. You got to go to YouTube. Everything is at YouTube. That's where I make my living. I don't even get paid for this live stream whatsoever. I'm only there so you can see my face. You can't see the graphics. I can't see your questions, comments, or concerns. Come over to YouTube. Put it in the chat. I will respond and read everything. Rico came from TikTok. What up, Connor Ditch? Hey, Dietrich. Shout out to Connor Dietrich. He came from TikTok. That's what you got to do. Come on over. Cross the street. Rico came from TikTok just to say great thumbnail and thank you for the love. Go Dogs. Shout out to the Bulldogs. He's talking about Fresno State in the thumbnail. Undefeated in my top 25. Shut out a Pac-12 team. Love everything they're doing. Shout out to them. Ash is in the backyard pissed. Sorry, guys. Willie Bobo says, I have a horse right here. His name is Paul Revere. Can't lose, can't lose. Shout out to Willie Bobo. Let it ride. Let it ride. Richard Dreyfuss, let it ride. I got a horse right here. His name is Paul Revere. You don't know. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, y'all just some young bucks, man. Breakin says, shout out, Rico. My girl loved the nice dinner. Thank you to FIU. If you guys didn't know, Breakin was paying attention to the podcast. Breakin was watching the live stream last Sunday, and I said, take FIU. I know they're an underdog, but I think they're going to win this game. And that man, Breakin, put some money on it, and he sent me a shout-out immediately and said, Rico, we hit. We hit, baby Jesus, taking the girl out for some steak. I should take my wifey out for some steak, but we already ate dinner. Oh, you deserve a steak, sweetie. You woke up to some money in your Snapchat, didn't you? Man, she screamed. I said, sweetie, can you check the Snapchat real quick? All the MVPs tipped us out on the Snapchat. And she goes, okay. She goes, oh my God. That's what she said. It was a good day to be me, y'all. And I know all the haters. Rico, you missed so bad. Rico, you had a bad Saturday. You suck. You don't know what you're doing. Hey, sweetie, did we have a bad Saturday? No? Did I go to bed feeling bad? No, I didn't suck. We hit everything we wanted to hit. I'm just letting you know. No struggle here. The only person pissed off in this house is Ash. Shout out to you guys. Peace, Rico. Peace, chat. Peace, Sean Ruffner. Best YouTuber out there. Thank you so much, Marlena. I try my best. I like to think so. Great strategy. Move with the changes. You got it, Coaches. Brian, I am doing it. We adjust as we go. ACC and independent. Half and half on Notre Dame, getting both worlds. There you go. That's exactly what's happening. Everybody loves Jerry. That was the logic behind it. I want to cover Notre Dame when I discuss ACC because they're an ACC team. All right, I'm going to stop right there with Jerry. Go back over here and talk about some of these games again. We're going over 7 games at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're on Notre Dame. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so Notre Dame beat Central Michigan. Nothing to see here. Central Michigan was outgunned, outmatched. Notre Dame looked great. We expected that. Shout out to them. South Florida, Alabama. Embarrassing effort by Alabama. They go to South Florida. They win 17-3, but they looked terrible. Can you believe the passing leader in this game was Byron Brown? Byron Brown, redshirt freshman from North Carolina, dual threat quarterback, playing for South Florida, 87 yards passing, leads in the game. Oh, by the way, leading receiver, C.J. Dippre, the backup tight end for Maryland last year, transferred to Alabama, and they couldn't throw it to anybody else. It's embarrassing. What South Florida did to them exposed them. Nobody's afraid of Alabama. Nobody's impressed with Alabama. I don't know what Alabama's doing. And I told you guys, they're only going to win 7 games this year. Now, it might be more. But could you imagine had they lost to South Florida? You guys, everybody would have been screaming. Rico knows, Rico knows. You guys are still screaming it. Speaking of Rico knows, Tennessee at Florida. I told you guys Tennessee's winning this game. I didn't care if it was at the Swamp. I believe Tennessee was going to blow them out. I said Tennessee's got offense. Florida doesn't. Then Graham Mertz came out looking like Tom Brady. Graham Mertz balled out, looked great, and embarrassed Tennessee. Now, I went on TikTok and said, thank God I did not give this to my MVPs as a lock. Thank God I told my MVPs this is not one of the games to bet on. And all the TikTok idiots took that as, oh, my God, he flipped and he's claiming Florida won. He's claiming he picked Florida. I never once, ever flipped on a pick in my life. Never hid from anything. All I said was, thank God I didn't send this to my MVPs. Thank God I only sent it to the lackeys. Thank God I only sent it to people who don't pay me. Oh, my goodness. Shout out to Florida for winning the game. Still not impressed. I think it was two terrible teams playing each other. And one of them had to win. Speaking of having to win, Utah playing Weber State. If you guys didn't know, Weber State is a top FCS program. They go to the FCS playoffs all the time. And Utah was only given 7 points. They won 31-7. I said stay away from it because I didn't know what was going on. Nonetheless, Utah went out, did what they had to do. They finally started Nate Johnson, their freshman dual-threat quarterback. They still don't have, the real quarterback. They still don't have Cam Rising. And they got UCLA this week. That looks like an intriguing matchup to me. Undefeated. UCLA looks like they're hitting on all cylinders. Utah looks anemic. But Utah's, one of the perennial powers. And they're favorite. We got Oregon and Hawaii. I told you guys Hawaii would not be able to throw on Oregon. Oregon has a real secondary. Hawaii went out there, only put up 10 points. And Oregon put up 55. Shout out to Bo Nix. They look ready to go. They look ready for the Pac-12 play. Mississippi State, LSU. I told everybody Mississippi State has a chance to cover this spread and take the under. Because I believed in Mississippi State senior defensive players. And they picked off 4 passes against Arizona last week. So I said, man, they're going to be able to do this. Do what? They looked terrible. They couldn't stop LSU at all. LSU scored at will, got the over, beat the piss out of them. It was a terrible game for Mississippi State. And I think they have more of that coming. Next week they play South Carolina. Yeah. They play South Carolina next week. Oh, my God. Trash. We'll see if they can stop South Carolina passing the ball. I bet you they can't. Spencer Rattler ain't playing with you. We'll see what happens. K-State at Missouri. What a heartbreak. Missouri hits a 61-yard field goal to win this game. K-State does not have the speed to keep up with them, and Brady Cook cooked these boys. I took K-State. I let my heart talk for me. I really believed in Missouri, but I didn't say it out loud. That's what happens. All offseason, all I've ever talked about is Brady Cook being one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Nobody listens to me. Nobody believes me. I'm like, yeah, he's better than this guy. He's better than this guy. No, he's not, Rico. I got videos talking about Brady Cook. And then when it came down to it, I didn't pick him. That's on me. All right, back to the chat. Western Michigan, Iowa, under points messed me up. Yeah, you took under, and then Iowa decided to go score. Yeah, they decided. You know why? Western Michigan has a very bad team. I probably should have gave you a heads up. I didn't know you wanted that. Very bad team. Thoughts on Auburn? Bills Mafia. Auburn is doing their best to bounce back. I have Auburn winning maybe 5 or 6 games this year. 5 games? Let me double check. Where's my top? What was it under? New coaching hires? Hugh Freeze? 6 games. Auburn winning 6 games. I got some upsets out there for Auburn. We'll see when that happens. We'll see if that ever happens. Oh, my goodness. I said 6 games before the season started. Whew. At Rico, J.J. McCarthy had 3 interceptions. Marlena, J.J. McCarthy is not him. You've never heard me vouch for him. Corey Flores says, what's good, Rico? I've been really impressed with Denzel Burke. Did you expect this type of play out of him? Just asking. Corey Flores, yeah, he's a shutdown corner. I expected it from him. I think I talked about him once, and all I said was Ohio State has one good corner. They need to hit the transfer portal for the others. And they figured that out. But, yeah, Denzel Burke is a beast. Thoughts on Drake May? Drake May's hitting his stride. He's playing great. He's playing as advertised. Drake May's leading his team, carrying his team, doing everything he needs to do. 100% agree with your take on Washington. The fact they aren't in the top 3 is atrocious. Yep. You're biased because he was at Indiana. But the thing is, Breaking, like if you just sat down and looked at all the teams and assessed them for how they're performing this year, from what you've seen just this year, take into no consideration what they did last year, just what have I seen so far on every Saturday, and rank the teams that way. There's no way you have teams ahead of Washington, except for USC. There's no way. Washington just goes out there and mows over anybody. Nobody's stopping those receivers. Jackson Dart is him. I believe that, Colby Price. I really do. I love Jackson Dart's game. Caleb Williams is about to show the world why he is number 1. I hope so, Reggie. Reggie Gallo. For me, Regalo, I like him a lot, man. Jesse Castellanos, he's going to ask about Cormani McLean. This guy does this every time I see him. Shout out to Jesse. He says, who do you think starts for Travis Hunter? Do you think they they give the start to Cormani McClain? Cormani McClain ain't in the 2 deep, bro. He's not in the 2 deep. I believe they give the start to Carter Stoutmire, another freshman. Omar Stoutmire's son. Omar Stoutmire, former NFL football player as well. His son, Carter Stoutmire, is a beast. Flipped from Arizona at the last second, and he went to Colorado. I like Carter Stoutmire a lot more than Cormani McClain. You guys, Cormani McClain is not good enough to see the field, bro. There are 7, 8 guys better than him on the team. There's better people than him. Stop with the whole, he's a 5-star. Some magazine out there, I'm sorry, not a magazine, some website who gives out stars didn't know what the hell they're doing. And when they got to practice one day, they said, who's this kid? This kid ain't ready. That's exactly how it's going. Thoughts on Auburn? Don't repeat your questions. I knew Auburn was going to be bad. I knew Alabama was going to be bad, but didn't think they'd be on life support. Lewis Henton, roll tide roll, man. Everybody loves Jerry. Says, Boston College wearing the bandana uniforms are a menace to teams. If it's like someone wearing black Air Force Ones, what does that mean? You afraid of black Air Force Ones, bro? I'm not afraid of anything other than back knee. If I see a guy with back knee, I'm worried because that means he's on something. He's on gear. If you got back knee, you're probably as strong as a chimp. That's the only thing I'm worried about. If you got pimples on your back, outside of that, bro, I don't care what attire you're rocking. I'm taking your lunch money. Just being real. I left the Hog game last night confused and disoriented. Stop drinking, Counts. Stop drinking. That man was disoriented. That's too bad. BYU out here doing their thing. Will USC be better than the Pete Carroll teams? That's hard to tell. That's hard to say. They got to go out there and win if they want to be in that same conversation. They got to win. That's what they got to do. Sorry the chat just jumped on me. Trying to get back there, guys. Thoughts on Auburn? Got that a couple of times. Not because of the result. Pre-game too hard. I knew it, Counts. I knew it. This man pre-game too hard. Have you ever pre-game too hard, sweetie? Let me tell you about a pre-game that went the wrong way. And I never have. I was so drunk stories. But in the military, I was stationed in South Korea, Camp Humphreys. So I'm in South Korea. The year is 2000 and whenever the Steelers and the Seahawks played for the Super Bowl. Well, I think it was Steelers-Seahawks. Whenever Sean Alexander was in the Super Bowl. So in Korea, the Super Bowl is at 7 or 9 a.m. I think it was 9 a.m. on Monday morning. So we all have the day off. And if you want to watch the Super Bowl, you can go out and have a good time at a bar. And if you walk into the bar, they have they're serving breakfast, American breakfast, while you watch the Super Bowl. It's really cool. But since it's a bar, they were serving mimosas. So we decided to do shots of mimosa, which is just champagne, I think, right? Champagne and orange juice. But we did a shot of champagne and orange juice for every minute on the game clock. Let me repeat that. Every minute on the game clock. And it was very strong mimosas. So as we're watching the Super Bowl, the first quarter ends, and who knows how long it takes for the minutes to go by with the commercials and everything else. But every time a minute passed on the game clock, we took a shot of this mimosa. Bro, I kid you not. Somewhere in the second quarter, 22 mimosa shots in. We don't know what's going on. We don't remember the game. There's 6 of us doing this like morons. I think I was 24 years old. We all had to take cabs back on base because we were off base. We were in the local city. We were in the Ville. I remember it being an awful 48 hours and not knowing who won or lost the game. Very bad experience. I don't think I drank for 2 or 3 years after that. True story. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Don't ever play drinking games with the game clock. Stupid. Thanks for the answer. Asked way early. Shout out to Mustang Man. Asking questions early, getting here early. That's what you want to do. I appreciate you. Shout out to the 100 people watching us on TikTok. If you want your questions answered, come over to YouTube. We got you. Do you think Colorado will beat Oregon? or do we have to wait until Pac-12 Friday? You don't necessarily have to wait until Pac-12 Friday. I'll answer your question in detail. All I'm going to say is the quick answer is no. Was definitely nervous about the Colorado State-Colorado game after being informed about their receivers by you, but would you say Colorado still underperformed? No, J to the B, that's who they are. They didn't underperform. That's who they are. That's how good they are. They're good enough to win the game when it all comes down to it. They're not blowing anyone out. They're not shutting people out. They're not shutting people down like that. If they're gonna win games, it's gonna be ugly. That's who they are. Just so we're clear. Hell no, Oregon going to beat the brakes. There you go. Troy on a 2-game losing streak, but Chris Lewis been balling. Yep, you keep talking about Chris Lewis, Evan, but how are you doing, brother? I know you went to the game, right? You went to the JMU game. How are you doing? Troy is down 2 in a row. Are they rallying the troops? Are they doing okay? TCU and Nebraska underperformed. That's a valid statement, although I think Nebraska might have peaked in that performance, and it still wasn't good enough. The Arkansas offensive line penalties were disastrous. Haven't seen a single position group play that bad in a long time. Yeah, you have. Well, maybe you haven't. I have. Go watch Game 1, North Carolina, South Carolina this year. Watch South Carolina rush for -2 yards. It's a beautiful thing. Go back and watch the film. It's horrendous. Hyatt, wide receiver number 1 material. Yeah, at Tennessee. As soon as Colorado loses, they will instantly become a better team. No pressure. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think pressure's even giving them an issue right now. There's no pressure, man. There's no level. There's no real expectations. It's not like they're Bama or USC. There's no Georgia expectations. They're cool. They were resigned to losing yesterday. Nobody was up in arms about it. Nobody was depressed and sad. It was just the reality of the situation, and they came back and won. Forrest Weber, thoughts on Auburn so far? They're doing the best they can. Think they're doing the best they can under Hugh Freeze. They need to do better. They're struggling with consistency, and Thorne was their leading rusher, which is crazy. Yeah. I heard number 11 on Colorado got kicked out of high school for 2 sexual assault charges. Is this true? I don't know. I didn't hear the same thing you heard, Brownlee. Harrison Brownlee, you heard a rumor, and you came and asked me, is this true right away? That's crazy. How would I know? Shout out to Eric Wensler. Just became an MVP. MVP, Eric Wensler. Welcome to the group. If you go, now that you're an MVP, if you go to the homepage, you will see all the videos. Click on the MVP playlist, and you will see the picks for this week. And you can watch the 5-minute discussion, and you can give me your input, and we can keep going. It'll be an open dialogue all week long. And here, I'll make the announcement now. We have 200 people here between TikTok and YouTube. I'm going to tell you guys what my plan is moving forward for my MVPs because we have so many MVPs. And out of loyalty to all of the MVPs, I will only be giving locks to MVPs. There will be no locks given to the TikTok community. They are extremely toxic. They don't deserve it. It will not happen. They will get no picks from me. They complained and were too toxic. They ruined it for themselves. They're not getting any picks. Not a single one. And they can go complain to their mama about it. And we're going to sit here and keep hitting. And we'll keep reporting our stats. And we'll keep winning. But they won't be included. And when they get tired of not knowing the truth, they can pay to see the truth. These guys demanding to see proof that I have MVPs and all this shit. One guy said, oh, my over-under on your MVPs is, XYZ. My over-under on your MVPs is nothing. I bet you don't have any. You're just lying. Well, there's the chart, bro. There's the chart. You guys see it. MVP chart right here. And you can see down here, what's this number say? What's the number say? 146 and counting. So apparently we're doing something right. 146 and counting. I can't stand these guys. The haters are on the wrong side of history. Shout out to all the MVPs. Congratulations, Eric. You just came into a ton of money and information. I'm so proud of you. Yup, I caught that FIU as well. Shout out to Coachese Bryant. Coachese Bryant caught the FIU. Let's go back to these results. We'll stop there and go back and forth. Here we go. Wait, did I just see Instagram? You on Instagram now or someone posting your stuff? Evan, did you see my stuff on Instagram? Because I'm not on Instagram yet. If somebody's posting my stuff on Instagram, let me know. Send me a DM. What's that? They are? Bastards. Taking credit for my stuff, getting clicks. How dare they? We'll shut them down. That's crazy. All right, results. Back to what I was saying. I stopped on Missouri. Oregon State, San Diego State. Oregon State dominated this game. It was a slow-paced game. It was nothing too explosive. Just a slow, methodical ass-whooping. That's how Oregon State wins games. That's what Oregon State does. Okay? So shout out to them. San Diego State, anemic on offense, like I told you guys. It's a non-issue. Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. I told you Ole Miss would cover this spread, and then, I told you Georgia Tech would cover this spread, and then Georgia Tech showed up without their star receiver. Lane doesn't show up, and Chase Lane isn't there, and that sucks. Haynes King still put up 307 yards. Bodes well for Mississippi, Ole Miss to be undefeated. They're playing Bama this week. It's going to be one of those things, man. Bama's favorite over Ole Miss, which is just wild to me. Congratulations. Lane Kiffin, do your thing. Colorado State, Colorado, we've talked about it at length. Shout out to Braden Fowler Nicolosi, BFN. This is a true freshman. A redshirt freshman quarterback playing out of his mind, finding Torrey Horton every chance he got, finding Dalton Holker, the tight end transfer from BYU. Very impressed with Colorado State. Like I said, I think they're going to be competitive in the Mountain West. Mountain West pretty deep, but Colorado State's not bad. Oklahoma blowing out Tulsa. Tulsa had to go to a backup quarterback. I want to show you guys something. About this. Yeah, I care about Tulsa a lot for whatever reason. I don't even know why. But check this out. The Tulsa quarterback was a freshman, Cardell Williams. Now, he's second string. Their real starter is Braylon Braxton. He's been injured. So Cardell Williams getting the start. He's playing. He throws 2 picks, 2 touchdowns. The game's out of hand. They bring in Roman Fuller. Roman Fuller's the third string quarterback. 6 for 10, 3 interceptions. Are you shitting me, bro? 3 interceptions. Insane. I just saw somebody on TikTok write Big L on the Tennessee flip-flop. You don't even know what you're talking about. There is no flip-flop on Tennessee. I never once picked Florida, so there was no flip-flop there. Understand? Mr. ... Nobody picked Florida. You won't find a video anywhere where I said Florida's winning this game. It was a miss. There's nothing to dodge. Nobody sees your bullshit questions. You guys are bums. Nobody flip-flops anywhere. Fucking punks, man. Shout out to Oklahoma. Looking great, picking off passes, doing their thing. Jackson Arnold came in and didn't even look good. Watch this. Watch this. How they like me now. How they like me now. Sorry about that. Had to close TikTok because those bastards don't pay me. Now we're just talking here, guys, and it feels better. So anyways, where was I? Oklahoma blows out Tulsa, looking sharp, looking good. Dylan Gabriel, 421 yards. Don't ever tell me Dylan Gabriel needs to be benched. That guy's playing out of his mind. Drake May dominating Minnesota. Minnesota's not getting it done in the red zone, but look at Darius Taylor. That true freshman running back. I told you guys. Darius Taylor, true freshman running back, goes out there, puts up 138 yards. Nate McCollum, call him Waffle House. This man is open 24/7. Nate McCollum, Georgia Tech transfer, coming up to North Carolina to be the star wide receiver for Drake May, replacing Josh Downs as a slot receiver. Nate McCollum went 15 receptions yesterday. 15 receptions for 165 yards. He's just open the whole time. Nate McCollum, nobody can stop him. It's amazing. Duke covering the spread against Northwestern like I told you. Shout out to Riley Leonard, looking great. Leading the team in rushing like I told you guys. Riley Leonard leads this team in rushing. I'm like, why is the over-under on his 30 yards rushing? What is this? Northern Colorado stood no chance against Cam Ward and Washington State. They looked legitimately great. Washington State putting up 64 points, going north of 50 again. I don't care who it's against. UCLA blowing out North Carolina Central. We knew UCLA's the real deal. Anthony Atkins leading the team in rushing. He's the third-string running back. He's the Army transfer. I'm just glad he got some playing time and got to go do his thing and keeps, pursuing his career and education. Iowa beating Western Michigan. Iowa decided to score points. Those are style points. Those are so your son can keep his job, because if he doesn't average 25 points a game, he gets fired. And we'll see what happens. But 41 on Western Michigan. Western Michigan looked anemic. Liberty, speaking of looking anemic, Liberty blew out Buffalo. Buffalo lost to Fordham last week, an FCS team, and then they come out here and Liberty puts up 55. Caden Salter, transfer, just dominated this game. I'm happy to see Liberty winning. If you guys didn't know, I had Liberty winning from Jamie Chadwell. I think I had them winning 10 games in the preseason. I'm going to pull it up real quick. 8 games. I had Liberty winning 8. They might prove me wrong. They might win more. Louisville looked really boring against Indiana, but that's good. Boring and winning is always a recipe for success, but it's unfortunate because they always score and then they stop scoring. Something's wrong with Louisville. They're not hitting everything in stride. They got to hit Jamari Thrashmore. That guy's a beast. There's no reason for him to only have 4 receptions and 159 yards. He needs at least 12 targets a game. Jamari Thrash is him. Georgia Southern gave Wisconsin fits, problems. Davis Brin, 383 yards passing, but Davis Brin threw 5 interceptions. How are you supposed to win the game with 5 interceptions? I'll never know. But tell me why Wisconsin only put up 35 points with 5 interceptions. It's embarrassing. Wake Forest, talk about 5 interceptions. Let's flip it. Wake Forest had 10 sacks in this game. 10 sacks against Old Dominion after trailing 17-0 at the half. Wake Forest comes back to win the game, but my goodness, 10 sacks as a team. Old Dominion's offensive line sucks. Their best offensive lineman transferred to UCLA. They lost one to the NFL draft. It's just a shame, man. ODU, they had this game in the bag, and they gave it away to Wake Forest. Congrats, Wake Forest, undefeated, one of the worst 3-0 teams in the country, but they're there. Congratulations. Baylor, not looking sharp, played Long Island University. Sawyer Robertson did not look good, and they still got the win. Congratulations, obviously being an FCS team. Baylor plays Texas this week. I think the spread's 14.5. I think Texas can beat the brakes off Baylor. Iowa State at Ohio, this was embarrassing for Iowa State. Couldn't score more than a touchdown. Ohio looked like Iowa, beating the hell out of these guys physically. Congrats to the Ohio Bobcats. Rourke went down with an injury early in the season, and they're still winning games, and they're still winning. This is awesome for the MAC, right? I think Toledo's the favorite there, but Ohio's in it to win it. Kent State gets in the win column. It won't last long. Kent State plays Fresno State this week. You don't want any part of Mikey Keene. You don't want to do what they're doing. It's a beast move, right? So, got the FA. Back to chat. We're stopping on Kent State. I'll go back over the rest of the results after I get to the rest of you guys. Rico, you on Instagram now, or someone posting your stuff? Definitely someone posting my stuff. The Dallas Cowboys are looking like the best team in the NFL right now by heads and shoulders. J2B, I totally agree. Micah Parsons is a grown man, just a problem. Fresno State will run the table. Schedule is favorable. I like it. Does Torrey Horton transfer after this year? Seth, what are you talking about? Torrey Horton loves where he's at. Torrey Horton is not leaving. He's a beast. He just transferred from Nevada to Colorado State 2 years ago. A year ago. He just came over with Jay Norvell. He's followed his coach to Colorado State. Torrey Horton is going to be a pro. He's fine. You know how many guys were at Nevada are in the pros right now? Literally 4 receivers from that receiver room are in the NFL right now. You don't got to leave anywhere. Shout out to Romeo Dobbs. Shout out to, who's the guy? Eli Hood. Just got signed by Jacksonville, undrafted free agent. Shout out to their tight end. He's with the Commanders. What's good, Rico? Your content is great. Thank you, Scott LaRock. I appreciate you. Evan, he isn't on Instagram. Thank you. For some reason, we got dogs barking. There we go. For some reason, Tennessee just don't play too well at the Swamp. Yeah, their players suck. Thoughts on Auburn? I already answered this many times rewind the show. Big win for Missouri. That's a fact. I'm an Alabama fan, and I'm sick. Get some medicine. UCLA money line against Utah. Do your thing, Marlena. Good luck. Raise your hand if you're the MVP dummy who still picked Tennessee. Oh, everybody loves Jerry. Don't do this. Don't do this, Jerry. It wasn't on the list. I wasn't trying to trick you guys. It wasn't on the list for a reason. What up, Rico? What up, Capital City Fence? Oh, at Kim. All right. Well, someone's stealing his content and posting it then. Bastards. Get the channel name so we can report it. Should we be worried as an Ole Miss fan that they barely escaped games in the fourth quarter? Yeah. You should be worried about it. It's not, but who were they playing that they barely escaped games? You talking about Ole Miss? Are you talking about last week or this week? Georgia Tech, 48-23, that's not barely escaping. Talking about with Tulane? Tulane's a respectable top 25 team. Come on now. Opinions on USF. I like everything USF's doing. They're doing good. Alex Golesh, the coach, is doing great. Getting the most out of his players. They look competitive. Remember, they were 1-11 last year. They weren't competitive in their losses at all. And they lost to everybody, and they're still making it work. I like them a lot. Thoughts on Puka Nacua? He's in the NFL. Congratulations. Top 5 Heisman candidates. It's got to be off all the undefeated teams. So Caleb Williams, Hartman, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., and who's the kid at Texas? Ewers, that's it. There's your 5. Hunter should have never been going both ways. BP the Great, he's one of the best 11 on each side. That's all there is to it. Oregon State versus Washington State is going to be a great game. Yes, it is. Don't bet on it. Going to plug in a 3-leg parlay. Going to do Colorado and Notre Dame. Should I add Clemson or UCLA? I'm not a fan of parlays. Do you, boo-boo. Do you. I think Oregon and Colorado is going to be closer than people think. Underscore. Congratulations. Good luck. JG, thoughts on Penn State versus Iowa and the overall chances for a playoff. Thoughts on Penn State versus Iowa and the overall chances for a playoff. What the hell are you talking about? Are you talking about winning the conference and then going to the playoffs? There's only 4 playoff spots this year, buddy. The hell are you talking about? The Big Ten champ might not go to the playoffs. Like if a Pac-12 champ's undefeated, SEC champ is undefeated, ACC champ is undefeated, Texas is undefeated. Where are you getting any? What are we doing? No more late games, please. Thank you. When is OK State going to let Gundy go? Man, Stephanie, I believe Gundy's past his prime. I believe Gundy's out of touch with the transfer portal. I believe Gundy's got a scheme that's not conducive to being successful. I believe Gundy's been on the hot seat all offseason. I have a video about it. TikTok won't let me go back and watch it. It's frustrating. I posted it in February. And as I scrolled back to get to the bottom of my videos, you'd only let me do it on my phone, but not on the desktop. So I can't even show it to you guys unless I save it to my phone. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I have to scroll all the way back through 3,000 videos. Oh, I tried it this morning. It was so frustrating. But yeah, I'm telling you, I'm big on Gundy being on the hot seat. Rico, what's your thoughts on Louisville? They win games, but they haven't been impressive. I love Louisville. I think they're going to win 9 games this year. But my goodness, they're not winning any game dominant like they should. We started 1-2 last year, so the team knows the season isn't dead. But we also lack a senior leader that last year's team had. Oh, yeah, Troy? Yeah, that's a fact. You don't have Carlton Marshall, right? Yeah, that sucks. Shout out to Eric Winsler again for being an MVP. Baseball for many. Is FSU still a playoff contender? I know it's still early. Is FSU still a playoff contender? I know it's early. They're undefeated in a Power 5 conference. That's a playoff contender. Miami is winning the ACC. Let's go. Shout out to you, Awesome Aramis. I think that's an awesome idea. What up, Eric? Hip-hop, hooray! Ho! Hey! What up? Marco says Fresno State's defense played a phenomenal game. Yes, they did. They're doing great. How do I become a VIP? How do I join MVP? So the two of you want to know, you go to the homepage, and all you do is say join. It's on the homepage on the profile. If you don't see the join button, it's because you need to use an internet browser, or you need to use a desktop or a web browser, a laptop. You can do Safari and get there that way, but don't use the YouTube app or it won't populate on Apple devices. So you need an Android device, a desktop, a laptop, or use Safari. But those are all the options, workarounds to it. You'll see a join button on the home page. And that's how you become an MVP. And then you get access to all the MVP picks. I'll send you a DM with the username and all. Thank you very much, Evan. How do I become an MVP? Rewind the show. Just talked about it. Come on, bro. Give TikTok some picks. Nikita, not going to happen. They're too toxic. I just hung up on them on live. 200 people watching the show. Don't give a shit. I'd rather sit here and talk to 60 people who rock with me. You may need to log into YouTube from an internet browser and not the app. Correct. Thank you, Cameron Lowe. Rico, how are we feeling about the Cowboys, bro? Probably the best team in the NFL, Alex Negretti. I'll say that all day. I love how Washington did against Michigan State. Thank you for recognizing how good Penix is doing. What were your thoughts on the DeBoer transfer from Jimmy Lake in the first year? So DeBoer coming over, I think he was coming from Fresno State. I'm a big fan of DeBoer and the way he carries himself. I'm a big fan of the fact that he even let like some transfers go and come back. You know, there's one that he's handled really well, Jeremy Bernard. He lost him in recruiting, and then Bernard went in and enrolled at Michigan State for the first year, and then he came back to go to the school this offseason, and now he's back with Michigan State or Washington at home because he's a Washington kid. I just like the way DeBoer carries himself. He got shafted on the kid who's at Ohio State, the quarterback. What's his name? The kid who's never going to play. The one from South Dakota. Lincoln Kineholes. Shafted him, bro. Still like coach. No, you can join from the app. There you go. Some people can't see the button unless you're on an Android device, Caleb. Rico, tell me your thoughts on the Buckeyes versus Notre Dame next week. My thoughts are it's going to be a good game. I wouldn't bet on it at all. I think the Buckeyes can stop the pass, but they can't stop the run. I don't see how the Buckeyes lose that game. I really don't. I think Notre Dame's losing to the Buckeyes. I think Notre Dame's losing to Duke. I think Notre Dame's losing 4 games in a row. Rico, what's going on with Willie Gaines? Nothing. He's just not better than the people on the field. That's all there is to it. Who will give Colorado their first L, Coach? Blunts and Paper Podcast. What up, DJ? One of my former players. DJ, Oregon is going to give them their first L. What up? You're doing some good work. Thank you, Gavin Francis. Always takes an asshole on Tim to mess up stuff. Yeah, on TikTok, yeah, they're gone. Shout out to Parker Knott for becoming an MVP. Parker Knott, you will get access to the picks. You can watch the videos and do what you will. Good luck. Buckeyes come out of South Bend with a win, yes or no? Buckeyes come out of South Bend with a win, yes or no? I believe so. Plus, get the likes up. Thank you, guys. Get the likes up. We're only at 55. I don't care. We're fine. Don't worry about it. I'll get my views. Broncos just scored a Hail Mary. Wow. They needed one? Broncos Hail Mary but missed the 2-point. Oh, goodness. Do you think that Kitley will run the ball more going forward? Brooks had 11 yards per carry but against Oregon, but only rushed 6 times. Shuck had, you know what it is? Austin Davis, he's asking about Texas Tech, guys. Zach Kitley, the offensive coordinator, and some of the decisions he's making with the ball carries. I'm watching him have designed runs for Shuck, which is just weird. I hope he runs the ball more. But I also hope he throws it. Like, I hope they do more. Do more, bro. Figure it out. They've been calling a really weird game. Zach Kitley knows what he's doing, and he's not doing it well. You were right with the Colorado State and being guy to watch. Thank you so much, the great Allen. I do what I do. Shout out to Parker. Thoughts on who's winning the Pac-12, and do you think it'll be closer or will it be far-fetched clear winner? I think it'll be, we know who the winner's going to be. It's going to be USC-Washington winner. Whoever wins that game. Yeah, I was right about the Colorado State quarterback. Let me go back over here over the results, and I'll get back to the chat. Sorry, guys. Results. Where was I? So, looking at the results, I talked about Kent State stopped there. Boise looked terrible, and they played North Dakota, but they still didn't look as good as everybody hoped. If you didn't know, they got a dual-threat quarterback in Talon Green, and he's still not doing his thing. It doesn't look good. I don't care if they won 42-18. It wasn't as impressive as I needed it to be. NC State out there playing with Armstrong, doing their thing. VMI didn't stand a chance. Eastern Michigan, UMass, I yelled out, take the under as soon as this game started. As soon as I saw it, take the under. I know these defenses. I know them well. And congratulations, EMU beating UMass I wanted UMass to win the game just for the sake of causing chaos. Temple looks strong. E.J. Warner's a gunslinger. That's Kurt Warner's son. Always throwing the rock. They're in trouble this week. Forget who they play, but it ain't going to be nice. Ball State, Marquez Cooper, 177 yards, running all over Indiana State. The Sycamores didn't stand a chance. Told you guys about it. Rutgers, man, wake up. Dominating Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech finally got desperate, brought in Kyron Drones. And I told you Kyron Drones is not the answer. DeQuan Felton, 84 yards receiving for Virginia Tech. That's the Norfolk transfer from the FCS. Shout out to him. Proud of him. FIU beating UConn. UConn out. Their starting quarterbacks out for the year. UConn's going to struggle. And FIU found themselves a freshman quarterback. Keon Jenkins there. He is a freshman. I talked about him in week 1. He's been starting ever since. He won the job and never looked back. Joey Aguilar, balling out of control for App State. Nate Noel, one of the best running backs in the group of 5. They go run all over East Carolina. East Carolina is undermanned, undergunned this year. They're going to be bad. They're 0-3 so far. It's going to get worse. I'll jump over to chat just to give a shout-out. Shout-out to Norcon, becoming an MVP member. Thank you for joining the team. You won't regret it. Hope you win. Hope you hit your bets. Pick wisely. Choose wisely. All right. Texas A&M, ULM. Shouldn't have been a close game. Obviously wasn't. Ruben Owens looks sharp. Connor Wegman looks sharp. I mean, everybody looks good. They look primed and ready to go. They got some SEC matchups coming. Texas A&M, I believe in them in the West. I really do. Idaho at Cal. Cal's really good. Idaho's really good. FCS team. They just beat the brakes off Nevada. Giovanni McCoy's the reason why. I really believe in him. You see Isaiah Mfonse there, though. 137 yards rushing for Isaiah Mfonse. He's at Cal. Former Montana State running back. He's the all-time leading rusher in Montana State history. He transferred to San Jose State in the winter, was there for spring ball, then left, jumped back in the transfer portal, and went to Cal. It's like he got tampered with hardcore, if you ask me. But Isaiah Mfonse, coming up to the FBS, wanted to prove his pro pedigree because he was injured last year. He only played in the playoffs. So Isaiah Mfonse doing his thing in the Pac-12, but running over an FCS opponent like he knows how to do, like he's been doing his whole career. You see that guy over there receiving yards, though, Hayden Hatton? Hayden Hatton with 80 yards. This is a poor man's Cooper Kupp. Hayden Hatton has an insane amount of yards receiving at the FCS level. He's Giovanni McCoy's number 1 target. Hayden Hatton and Giovanni McCoy are going to wreak havoc on the FCS this year, and they'll be in the playoffs. So when it's time for the FCS playoffs later in the year, I'm going to do an I Am Right video, and I'm going to tell you guys, I told you so. Hayden Hatton, Giovanni McCoy, going to put up some stupid numbers. It's too bad because in their bracket, they're probably going to run into Sacramento State, who just beat Stanford, who's also undefeated. They're going to run into NAU. They're going to run into Northern Colorado, Incarnate Word. There's just a lot of good teams in the region, but in the Big Sky and everything like that. But shout out to Giovanni McCoy and Hayden Hatton. They got a hell of a duo. They're going to do their thing. Tulane blowing out Southern Miss, 21-3. Southern Miss couldn't score. I told you guys take Tulane on the spread. We hit. Congratulations. Georgia State and Charlotte. Charlotte had no chance of stopping Granger. Darian Granger, 466 yards passing. I'm telling you, he's a one-man show. Darian Granger's beat out so many people. Let me tell you guys something. There are players that transfer to Georgia State from bigger schools, and they think they're going to start over Darian Granger. It's happened several times. And Darren Granger just beats out everybody. And that player has to jump back in the portal and say, get me the hell out of here. I thought I was going to start over this guy, and I can't beat him out. Darren Granger is a great dual-threat quarterback. He's like KJ Jefferson to me. He's just one of those guys. He's a gamer. He's a baller. Shout out to Georgia State. They're going to put up points no matter where they play. Villanova, people thought they were a good team. You ran into Timmy McClain. So, John Rice Plumlee is out, right, the quarterback? And Rice Plumlee's out. JRP's out for a while, so they got to bring in Timmy McClain. You guys might not know Timmy McClain, but he won the 8A before they redid all the Florida classifications in high school football. Because now Florida, the classifications in high school football for Florida are, there's 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 being the highest, but they're for the metro and for the suburban, and then 1 for the rural. So you got 4M, which means metro. Those are the biggest schools in the metropolitan areas. Miami, Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville. And then you have suburban areas. And so you can have a 4S. That's a suburban area. So before all that, though, your boy McClain here, Timmy McClain, won the state title undefeated. He's everything. And he was at South Florida as a quarterback. He was supposed to start. He's this phenomenal high school quarterback. But then when Jerry Bohannon transferred him from Baylor, he took his job. And the kid wanted to play somewhere else. The kid just said, man, I got to get out of here. I'm backing up Jerry Bohannon. I can't start at South Florida. So he transferred to UCF, backing up John Rice Plumlee. Well, now he starts. Bro goes out there and throws 325 yards in his first start. Incredible job. Good for him. I like Timmy McClain a lot. He's explosive. He's fun to watch. Been watching him since high school. Congratulations. He's a stud. Auburn blowing out Samford. Nothing to see here except for the fact that Peyton Thorne ran for 123 yards. There's no way that guy should be leading you in rushing. That's bananas. La Tech giving up 40 points to North Texas. I told you guys North Texas is going to put up 30 points in this game. Chandler Rogers did it, though. Chandler Rogers, former ULM or Louisiana. I think Chandler Rogers was either the Louisiana or ULM starting quarterback and transferred to North Texas to be the starting quarterback. And he didn't get to start the first couple games. They finally put him in, and look what he does. 313 yards passing, and they win their first game of the season. Shout out to new head coach Eric Morris for getting his first win and getting over the hump, beating La Tech. La Tech, man, I've never seen a team do less with more. Like, La Tech has decent players. They got good players in the transfer portal. Sonny Cumbie's a bad coach. He doesn't ever win. I think Sonny Cumbie needs to be fired. Serious. And he's part of that Mike Leach coaching tree. He's supposed to be doing that run and shoot offense, high-octane shit, and he's just bad. He really is. Murray State at Middle Tennessee State. We know Murray State's not any good. We saw Louisville smash them, yet Middle Tennessee didn't do enough. Like, they didn't do enough to impress me. Shout out to Middle Tennessee for winning, but whatever. Northern Illinois, I think they're one of the worst teams in the country, and they proved it. They lost to Nebraska 35-11, and they looked terrible. Nebraska played their backup quarterback, Heinrich Haberg. Some dude, hey, dude, he sounds like we fought him in World War II. He really does. But that young man did the job, handled it. Congratulations. Made them all look bad. But he does sound like he's German. He does sound like German. I bet that's not. I've never met a Heinrich in my life. Kirk Heinrich, maybe? I never met one, though. UNLV beating Vandy. It just means more in the SEC. SEC. UNLV beating Vandy. Ain't nothing new here. I love Barry Odom. Barry Odom is the new head coach at UNLV. Recruiting great. Hitting the transfer portal just right. I love everything he's doing, and he showed out. Congratulations. Cincinnati is embarrassing. The fact they lost to Miami of Ohio, this just can't happen. You thought you were somebody. You have an easy schedule. You've been winning. You go out there and lay an egg like that. I'm embarrassed for Cincinnati. Satterfield didn't get it done. Gage Larvadain does it again. I told you guys, Gage Larvadain is just an amazing wide receiver. The first time I ever saw him on film, I said, who the hell is this kid from southeastern Louisiana, the Lions, coming up from the FCS? Him and Zy Alexander were studs. Zy Alexander transferred to LSU to play corner, and Gage Larvadain came up here to Cincinnati, to Miami of Ohio, and he's doing his thing. Gage Larvadain last week had 200 and something receiving yards. I think it was 3 touchdowns, and here he has 2 receptions for 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's just a big play guy. Love everything about Gage. He's also an all-state basketball player. He's a very good basketball player, and they couldn't stop him. Shout out to Cincinnati for getting embarrassed in overtime. Oklahoma State, speaking of being embarrassed, Oklahoma State could not keep up with South Alabama. This is what I expected from South Alabama at the start of the season. Give the ball to LaDamian Webb. That's a Florida State transfer. He went Florida State, JUCO, then South Alabama. But LaDamian Webb is a Florida State caliber player, and he's at South Alabama doing his thing. He rushed for 151 yards. He had over 1,000 yards last year. So it's nice to see him hit his stride and dominate Oklahoma State the way he did. Shout out to him. Texas Tech beating Tarleton. Nothing new to see here. They say they ran the ball a lot. Tarleton State just sucks. That's normal. They're an FCS level program. A lot of their players do transfer in the offseason So they are FBS caliber players, including their former quarterback, Bo Allen. He transferred to Georgia Southern, but he's third string. UAB, Louisiana. This is embarrassing. Jacob Zeno is the leading passer in this game. That's a UAB quarterback, but they didn't stand a chance. They were getting blown out in this game. We hit the over, guys. I said take the over. UAB is going to do this, and it was the other way around, but the over still hit because the under-over was 60. It's bananas. Shout out to Trent Dilfer for getting punched in the face and losing his game. Trent Dilfer better figure some things out. That's all I'm saying. SMU, Prairie View, 69-0. Preston Stone looking great. Doing your thing. SMU looks primed and ready to start playing in the American. Texas Southern, I told you guys they're terrible. Rice proved it. JT Daniels went out there, did his thing. Coastal Carolina, Duquesne, never close. Shout out to Grayson McCall. Didn't even play the whole game. Stony Brook's a bad team. Arkansas State proved it, winning 31-7. Troy and JMU, what a showdown. What a showdown of defenses and good teams. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed for Troy. I want them to win games, but JMU is no punk. JMU moving into the Sun Belt and just dominating since last year. San Jose State and Toledo, these were two good teams playing each other. Somebody had to lose, and unfortunately it was San Jose State again. San Jose State has 3 losses. But I promise you, they're the best 3-loss team in America. San Jose State is the best 0-3 team in America. I'm convinced. Their 3 losses are USC, Oregon State, and Toledo. I'm telling you, San Jose State can play some football. They're going to be a problem in the Mountain West, even with those losses. Trust. Shout out to BYU, punching Arkansas in the mouth, winning the game. BYU has a quiet, good defense. Nobody's talking about them. BYU. Just a run-of-the-mill Big 12 team. They could dominate in the SEC. They could win 8 games in the SEC. Serious. Kentucky did not look dominant against Akron. It got out of hand late, but it didn't look like that initially. It really didn't. Everybody keeps showing the Ray Davis highlight, but Ray Davis, former 1,000-yard rusher at Vandy last year, transferred into Kentucky because nobody wanted him, and now everybody wants him because he was a foster kid. It's the most ridiculous thing to say. Garrett Schrader balled out. Schrader is just a clutch-ass player. You guys, that's not a typo. Garrett Schrader rushed for 195 yards as a quarterback. It's a white dude. 195 yards. Hudson Card threw for 323. They were both dealing, but one was scoring touchdowns, one was not. Shout out to Syracuse. West Virginia got it done in the backyard brawl. I told you guys they would. Phil Jerkovic sucks. Phil Jerkovic is just inaccurate, throws things all over the place. Anytime you see Phil Jerkovic going to throw, just pick the other team because he can't throw. Dylan Hopkins gets it done for New Mexico. If you don't know Dylan Hopkins, he just transferred to New Mexico, former UAB starter, followed his offensive coordinator, Brian Vincent, over there. And Hopkins is getting it done. Diego Paiva rushing for 96 yards for New Mexico State. I'm sorry, did I say he got it done? Dylan Hopkins threw 247 in a loss. Paiva's the one who got it done. Got my teams mixed up. Sorry, it's easy to mix up New Mexico State and New Mexico. But still, Paiva getting it done, and I'm surprised because I thought they would bench him for Eli Stowers by now. The Texas A&M transfer not happening. Embarrassing. Sacramento State beating Stanford. Stanford cannot stop the pass, guys. Stanford has no DBs. They look bad. They're going to be bad. Pick any team throwing the ball against them. Florida Atlantic, obviously throwing pick sixes and looking terrible. LeJonte Wester open all day. Doesn't matter. By the way, LeJonte Wester is a Florida Atlantic wide receiver, and he's just – it doesn't matter who's covering him. He got 100 yards on Clemson. Doesn't matter. Nobody can stop that kid. I love the way he plays. TCU blowing out Houston. Chandler Morris finally hitting his stride, 314 yards passing. Amani Bailey getting that 126 on the ground. TCU's got an offense. My goodness, Houston sucks. Texas State beating Jackson State really bad, taking the foot off the gas. Shout out to Malik Hornsby for finally getting in the game, 133 yards rushing. Shout out to Drew Donnelly, White Lightning, originally from Texas, went up to Cincinnati to be a kickoff returner, and after being up there for a little bit, couldn't play on the field, couldn't see anything, comes back home. This is a kid who runs a 10, 300 meters. White guy, kind of like a weird 1960s haircut, like looks like one of the Monkees or something, but it's blonde. And Drew Donnelly, stupid fast. Malik Hornsby, stupid fast. These guys are 4.3 40 guys. So they got a lot of speed at Texas State. They're dangerous. Believe in Texas State. Fresno State, Mikey Keene, Warned everybody in the offseason. Mikey Keene is him. Eric Brooks is his 5'7", amazing target. Love Mikey Keene and everything he's doing. Jalen Daniels did not impress me. Neither did Devin Neal. Beating Nevada by 7, not good enough. Pissed about that one. Whatever. Congratulations, Kansas. You suck. And then Arizona. Beating UTEP, covering the spread. Thank you so much. We made off like bandits. We win, we win, we win. Those are all the results. Let me get back to the chat. And then we'll wrap this up. Thank you guys for being here. I meant Colorado State quarterback. Oh, yeah. BFN. I was right about him. Yes, I was. Rico. Will it be close? Far-fetched winner. Do you like the Buckeyes to cover -3 at Notre Dame or stay away? So, Cameron Lowe, I personally would say stay away. Personally. It's not in my locks, so I would stay away from it. But out of the two teams, I like the Buckeyes. But I would say stay away. It's just a coin flip. Austin Davis, whatever you feel like doing, bro. Do you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of running the quarterback. Not sure what's going on with the play calling. Completely bizarre. Hope they can clean it up. Yeah, Tyler Shuck should not be running that ball. I love your content and insights. I'm just not a bettor, so I don't see what's the point of becoming an MVP. Nothing whatsoever. If you're not a bettor, don't do it. J to the B, don't do it. Would be because I feel like it's mostly for your followers looking for picks. Am I wrong? You're not wrong at all. If you want your name to have a color next to it, you can just go with like the smallest one. A minion or a roughneck. And what I can tell you between the two is I will, when the show ends, if I hit my timer, like if I hit the timer at 2 hours, I say the show ends at that point, I will go back to the chat and only read colored names. Pause. I'll only read the names of the colored names because that identifies you as being a paid member, and I think you deserve to have your comment read no matter what it is, right? So that's why I read it. But MVP is just for bettors. Don't do the bettors thing. But if you want your comments or questions read, then get one of the smaller packages and I'll read all your questions. Or you can get here early every single day and I'll read them no matter what. It's whatever you want to do. Who's winning the Natty in my opinion? Whoever plays in the playoffs for it. Wake Forest favored against Georgia Tech seems wild. Yeah, it does, Evan Kramer. It does. Rico was not wrong about Anthony Richardson. Less than 2 games into the season and dude has more rushing touchdowns than passing. And already has a concussion. Yeah, J to the B. These guys don't understand. They just see rushing touchdowns and get excited. That man has not thrown the football once the way I expect a quarterback to throw it. Like, I just haven't seen it. I've seen completed passes here and there, but this guy's not going to dice you up. Let me know. Let me know what he brings to the table. What does Sanders have to do to crack the Heisman top 5? Shedeur Sanders to the Heisman top 5? The team has to go undefeated. The team has to be in the national championship race. That's all there is to it. The team has to be in the national championship race. If you're not near undefeated, you're not getting the Heisman. Heisman goes to the best player on the best team. Pretty much. The best player on the top 5 teams, top 10 teams. But you can't be a fringe top 25 team and be the Heisman winner. You can't have 2-3 losses on the season and be the Heisman winner. You just can't. How can I join the MVP page? Follow all the instructions everybody else just said right here, Tyler Davis. I don't see it. Use the website and not the app. Yep. Rico, I'm new to college football, but your knowledge on the players I enjoy. It's so worth being an MVP. No regrets here. Rico really knows. Thank you so much, Natasha Terrell. Sorry to hear you're new, man. I'm new too. I'm a fan of your channel. I'm a college student, and I wish I didn't have to pay for MVP. But I respect everything you do. Cheers to you. Yeah, Dom, thank you for being a fan of the channel. Thank you for being a sponsor. I wish you didn't have to pay for it either. But the people ruin the free locks and the free takes, and I'll never, ever subject myself to the bums ever again. That's real. They're just hostile. They're rude. So I'll give it to the people who get it. I'll still give my insight. I still talk. If you listen to everything I just said right now as I talk about these teams and the games and I answer questions, you can figure out who the locks are. You can figure out what's the absurd ones. Like, that's the way it goes. You can just figure it out. Yeah, that's 61.5. I like the over. Breaking. I like the over on that. I really do. I just think both quarterbacks can score at will. Coastal lost some of their best defenders, like Josiah Stewart transferring to Michigan. To Michigan, yeah. I just like the over. Coastal's got a great receiver as well. Like, there's going to be people scoring. Colorado State played dirty, extremely dirty. Yeah, I think Sterling J, I think they played dirty, but I also think Colorado played dirty. I watched Shedeur Sanders try to poke a guy's eyes out. How dirty is that, Sterling J? I watched him try to poke out number 8's eyes. I watched it happen. He stuck his fingers in his face mask trying to poke out his eyes. Everybody's being dirty. Everybody needs to stop getting mad about it. That's what happens when you get on the field, bro. Shit goes wrong. This was JMU's Super Bowl because they should have been in the SBC championship last year and wasn't eligible last year and this year. Yep, meant more to them trying to prove a point. For sure. For sure. These lines this week on FanDuel are really weird to me. Carolina only 6.5, FSU only 2.5 currently. Yeah, Breakin', I talk about it with my MVPs, not with you guys. I apologize. Just put everything on Georgia Tech plus 6.5. Shout out to you, Evan Kramer. Do what you do. Hey, guys, just remember, we're going to do our show starting tomorrow. Talk about, it's still ACC Monday, but then we're going to hit Independence and Conference USA. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for taking a moment out of your Sunday to hang out with me. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.
For my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you.